guys, and welcome to my video on One Piece episode 760. I believe this is it. This is well, and yeah, let's just get into it because this episode was really good. I really enjoyed this episode. Like, I just finished watching it, and I mean, comparing it to last episode, it was a fucking masterpiece. Very few times did the animation quality drop, and it was like in one scene or frame, and it wasn't anything major. Like, we had a few faces in profile which looked a little weird, and that was it. Like, it was 3 times, nothing else. And then we had some we had a minor slideshow, but nothing like last week's, and like generally the animation was above average. One Piece quality, in One Piece standards, of course, but it looked good. Like, it looked really good. And I don't know who the animation director for this episode was, but the person who did this should continue doing it like this, because this was great. And I'm pretty sure we did have some drawn out fight, but it looked great, and I thought that everything with Cat Viper and Jack looked great. They really redeemed themselves on the Dogstorm Jack fighting thing, because they completely screwed it over last episode, but this looked great. And overall, this episode in general just progressed the story so much. Not only did we get the conclusion of the Minks versus the Kaido subordinates under Jack, we also got Sanji's group arriving at So, we got Caesar's gas, we got Dogstorm and Cat Viper losing their limbs. Like, everything was so good in this episode and so well handled. And on top of that, we had some humorous bits as well, with Dogstorm suddenly waking up just to tell them that the day Luffy defeated Doflamingo was the day Jack left So, because he had to go save Doflamingo, and the part with Brook using Soul Parade on Sheep's Head and Jim Romney, and then making the ground slivery, so they just kind of fell into a 3 with the crocodile and some of them. Like, we had some humorous pieces and some really sad and tragic pieces with Wanda crying and Nami comforting her, and then that really gay moment with Wanda licking her very intimately, like, it's the thing with the Minks, but I swear the lesbian tension is there, and I understand. Both Nami and Wanda are really cute. So yeah, I get that. But overall, this episode was just really enjoyable, and I am so happy that it's good, because I'd be really fucking sad if we had 2 bad episodes in a row. But no, this was really good. And last episode I said that Cat Viper's voice didn't work as well as Dogstorm's on the serious point, but I think in this episode it worked better. And I think it's because we have those 2 different voices that he uses. We have the more teasing kind, where his voice is a little bit more high-pitched, and then he has the more serious tone where his voice is a little deeper, and I think that works really well for him when he's a battle commander and he's in the front lines and fighting Jack. I did have a few moments where when Jack was fighting mostly Dogstorm, I think, where it looked like he was mostly just taking punches instead of actually fighting back. But then again, it goes to show that his endurance is incredible, and there was a reason why he was the only one they were having trouble with, because as Wanda said, they didn't really have trouble with the underlings. It just seemed that they kept coming, but Jack was the main problem. But Jack wasn't enough, of course, which was why they ended up using Caesar's gas. And I want to talk about the last piece of the episode. I'm just jumping a bit around here because most of you are probably manga readers, and I just want to talk about the fact that Pedro... Oh, I'm going to talk about the voice actor too, but Pedro said in the end that it was very important that Sanji, Jabber, and Caesar they save Dogstorm and Cat Viper, because the world is waiting for them. They cannot die. And this is a thing that, if you're an anime only watcher, we still don't know exactly what the hell Pedro meant with that, because there is so much to still be revealed about these 2 characters. And I just think that it's important to notice that even when these Minks are literally on their deathbeds and they see 3 people who could potentially save them. They're like, fuck my life, you go save these 2 people. I don't care about us. These 2 people might be dead for all I know because they got their limbs cut off, but you have to save them if you can. I think that's really good, and it just, if you're an anime only watcher, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the dedication that the Minks have for the things that are really important to them, that is something that takes so much courage and strength, and it's something that we see again and again in the Minks, and you'll see in future episodes just how far their loyalty, their courage, and their dedication goes. And that's something that's so, as a manga reader, this episode with the Minks being completely defeated, that is so heartbreaking, yet at the same time very heartwarming. And again, you will see why, and if you're very impatient and want to read the manga, just read up until chapter 816. Because I remember I cried in that chapter. But I'm not gonna spoil anymore. I'm gonna talk about Pedro's voice actor now to go away from potentially spoiling anything. Pedro's voice actor, I believe this is the first time he speaks, and if it's not, I believe it's the first time he speaks more than 2 words. Which means that we actually get the voice and we see, or we hear more of like how his voice works, because you can't really judge a voice actor when they just have yes or no answers, and I really don't think Pedro has spoken at this point, and I should have looked his voice actor up before I did this. Actually, I'm gonna do that now, wait a sec. Okay, so I just looked up his voice actor, and actually the reason why I wanted to do this is because, one, I'm a voice actor nerd, and secondly, because I found his voice actors, the voice was recognizable to me. And I'm gonna talk about who it was, if you haven't already looked it up, but one thing that I noticed is that, because obviously, if you haven't noticed already, I feel like I used the word notice a lot there, but he has some of the same features that Sanji has, with hair covering his eye, and later you'll see just in the way that he, his attitude toward things, and just how he is as a person. Like, he's a bit more violent than Sanji is, but he has the same kind of, yeah, he gives out the same kind of, I don't want to spoil anything about his character, which is why I'm kind of hesitating here, but basically, if you didn't know, Pedro's voice actor is also the voice of Roy Mustang from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which now just makes me ship him and Wanda, but, I shouldn't do that. It's a cute ship, though. But yeah, which makes me love him a lot. Roy Mustang is my favorite character from Fullmetal Alchemist, so yeah, he's gonna grow on me a lot just through the voice actor. So yeah, that's great. Pedro I like a lot. I don't believe we've seen too much of him in the anime. We've seen him that one time where he was kind of, he had his subordinates surrounding Luffy when he first entered the Whale Forest, I believe it was. And I don't think we've seen him really. After that, he's probably been in the background a lot, because he does a lot of things where he stands by a wall and observes people. Kind of like Sanji does, but yeah, doesn't get distracted by boobs. Oh yeah, right, we also got, because obviously, I was about to say in chapter 795, but of course you don't know that if you're an anime only, but in the episode where we saw Sanji and company for the first time in 2 years, when they first arrived in Seoul, we had basically the short scenes of them finding Jim Rumney and Sheep's Head, and I don't know what else happened, I don't remember. But now we're kind of filling in the gaps of what happened between the time they left Dressrosa and that point in time, because obviously something happened in between. And they meet, what's her name? Tristan, I believe. She's the squirrel girl who Nami saves. And I really, really like this moment, because I don't remember it from the manga. It might have happened, it might not have happened. But I'm not gonna check this up because this is not a review and I'm not professional or anything. But she had that really great moment where she sees Tristan running and screaming for help, which I really don't think happened in the manga, because she's probably aware of the fact that no one's actually there to help her, so she was just running, I'm pretty sure, in the manga. And Nami's just like, wait, what's happening? And then as soon as Sheep's Head arrives on that crocodile, she's like, Yeah, you look like a villain, because this is an anime, so I know that villains have a very villainy look, which means that this girl is a victim, we should save her. I really like that, because though it was kind of comical the way that Nami was just like, yeah, you look like a villain, so I don't like you, it still goes to show that she thinks about her actions, unlike other people in the Straw Hat Crew. And I also really like, I don't know if I've ever talked about this or only think this, and never talk about it, but I really like Brook fighting. I feel like I must have said this at some point, but I just really enjoy watching Brook fight because, first of all, he's one of the crew members we've seen fight the least because he was the last person to join, and unlike in Enies Lobby, where literally everyone had their own fight except for like Robin because she was tied up most of the time, we have seen Robin fight, but Brook is usually yeah, he doesn't have his time to shine because up until now, every time we have opportunities for one-on-ones, in Fishman Island, everyone who had one-on-ones there, it was mostly a joke. No one really went all out, and the only one who really showed anything off was Luffy, and the only reason that Luffy did so was because he was literally fighting a fishman underwater while he was being a devil fruit user, which should say a lot about how weak Hody was, because when you, as a fishman, lose to a devil fruit user underwater, you're not really that strong, especially when the attack that finishes you off was fire again underwater. But that's not what my point is. My point is that Brook hasn't really had a chance to fight because the things that we've seen, him fighting Ryoma on Thrill Bark was, he lost that fight and sort of had to finish it for him. Then there was the teamwork on Thrill Bark, which ultimately Luffy dealt the final blow 2 times. Shabandi, everyone lost. Fishman Island just talked about. Punk Hazard, he didn't really get to fight all that much. He had a few good moments, but no one really had a fight except for Luffy and Law and Smoker. Dressrosa, obviously, he didn't get to do anything. He had that real weird thing with Giola, the woman who did the weird art thing. It says a lot about the Doflamingo subordinates that I don't even remember her name. He had that weird thing with her, but that was mostly catching her off guard. That wasn't really a fight. So I'm really glad that even though this isn't really a fight either, I'm glad that we're seeing more of him. Because ultimately I just really like Brook's fighting style. Not only is he a swordsman, but he also has a really unique devil fruit that is generally it's the Yomi Yomi no Emi, I believe it's called, the revival fruit. And you wouldn't think that that can do anything after he's used it once, but he somehow managed to use like ice. It's the ice of hell or something, I believe he called it. And he has a lot of interesting techniques, and Zoro, who, yeah, he's a swordsman, he's obviously a good swordsman, he's aiming to be the best in the world. Brook has such a different fighting style, and we see Zoro fight all the time, and yeah, he fights scrubs all the time in the New World at the very least. Brook is just so interesting, and I really like his style, and I should move on from Brook, but my point is, I really like that Brook is finally fighting. And yeah, some people might be annoyed that Nami didn't fight, but because Brook has almost as little fighting screen time as she has, and she arguably has more screen time than he has in general, I am not too annoyed with this. And I am pretty sure that we will see Nami fight sooner rather than later, so yeah, I'm not too annoyed with that. Also, I'm gonna be completely honest, when we saw the Curly Hand Pirates arrive and we saw Momo for the first time in forever, I was kind of like, oh yeah, you exist. I honestly, every time Momo isn't in an episode, I just completely forget his existence. And Momo is quite an important character. Like, again, if you're an anime only watcher, you won't know everything because obviously manga readers know more about literally everything. But still, I just keep forgetting that he exists, and that, I mean, yeah. And he's been in the story for so long, like, this is the 3rd arc he's kind of a part of. Like, again, he wasn't in most of Dressrosa, which is probably why I keep forgetting that he exists, and because in the present day, so he's just curled up in a room, but still. Okay, so my camera battery is almost dying, so I will end the video here. If there's anything that I didn't talk about that you want to talk about or you want to hear my thoughts on, just leave in the comments below and I will answer any of your questions and we can start a fun discussion, whether you're a manga reader or an anime only. And yeah, let's just have some fun in the comments. If you like anything that I had to say, leave a thumbs up in the video, and if you want to see more of me, you can subscribe. I do reviews of One Piece, Boku no Hero Academia, Shokugeki no Soma, Haikyuu, and I do videos that are in style with this one for the Haikyuu Season 3. So yeah, if you're interested in those, you can subscribe. Also, hopefully I will have my Blackbeard discussion video up later tonight. I have yet to film it and I still need to do a little bit of research, and I know from the Blackbeard theory video that I did that my editing on these videos take about 3 to 4 hours. So it'll be up maybe in 6 hours. I can't promise, but hopefully before the day ends for me at the very least. So yeah, look forward to that, and until next time, bye!